Hi everyone. This video is a book review about a book that I purchased last year thinking that it was a completely different book. And the title of this book is The Book of the Bath. And it is written and illustrated by Catherine Canner. Now, as I stated, I thought this book was a completely different book. When I worked in the library, I used to look at books in the basement that were out of print, and there was one book in particular that I really liked, but I couldn't remember the title of it. It had old recipes from the Middle Ages, so I thought that this book was that book because they had, I guess, similar covers. However, I'm glad that I got this book because I did learn a lot about the art of bathing, and there were some inspirational parts in it. You will hear my critique as we go along about the illustrations, about the information, and all sorts of things. Now, as far as bathing, being clean is important to me, as I'm sure it's important to a lot of different people. I like to bathe either once a day or twice a day. If I'm not clean, I'm very upset. The only time that I did not bathe every day was when I was essentially ill in 2017. I couldn't get out of bed. The only way I could make it to go take a shower or so was basically rolling off of my bed and crawling to the bathroom because I was very, very weak. But other than that, I love to be clean. The most recent time where I was experiencing not being clean was my trip to Miami, and I wasn't able to access a shower for 2 or 3 days, and it drove me crazy. Every single stop that we went to, I was in the bathroom either changing my clothes or brushing my teeth or washing my face, and people were like, "Weren't you just in different clothes?" Yeah, but now I'm clean. But now I am clean. Bathing is a very important part of human history, and it is also a very important part of people's confidence and self-esteem. Sometimes people have issues with bathing if, one, they don't have access to a bathroom or to water to bathe with. Number two, if they're ill, like they physically cannot get to a bathtub or get clean because they're either don't have the ability to, they're in a vegetative state, or they just can't do it. Another is if they are going through some type of depression. You've seen some people that don't comb their hair for months and months and years at a time because they are so depressed, or they're going through some type of mental trauma that they don't have the ability to keep themselves clean or hygienic like that. So in this book, we're going to discuss the different history of bathing. We're going to discuss some recipes that the author created, and we're just going to share some fun stories about being clean. So before I get into all of that, let me tell you a little bit about the author, Catherine Canner. Now, Catherine Canner, she has a very fun little website. It has all of her different art. It has all of the different creative things that she does. We're going to go to the info. It says Catherine Canner is an award-winning designer, creative director, and illustrator working in Los Angeles, California. She has designed and illustrated more than 40 books, including her own texts. She served as design director for Los Angeles Ballet from the company's inception through August 2022, and has been a regular contributor to the Los Angeles Times opinion section, with her editorial illustrations syndicated to 2,000 newspapers in the U.S. and 1,000 worldwide. Catherine has won numerous illustration and design awards, including the Society of Newspaper Design Award and Prince Regional Design Award, the Louis Award, Rounds and Coffin Awards for Excellence in Book Design. Catherine has been inducted in the Album Cover of Fame, her cover for Bob Dylan's Slow Train Coming. Her services include, and it lists her services, she does advertising, book illustration, book design. She also does photography. There's some photographs that she has of dancers and ballet dancers. She does graphic design. She's still in business. Now, this book was published in 1985. So it is either almost 40 years old or 40 years old or pushing 40. But for some reason, my book is still in good condition. So whoever owned it before took very good care of it. This book is filled with very nice illustrations. I will give her props for that. She took out the time to create all of the little details, and she took out the time to do as much research as she had the ability to do. Now, I'm going to make a lot of critiques in this book because the main critique I have with this book in particular is the lack of diversity in the illustrations. And I know I say this in a lot of books, like the lack of diversity. Now, as far as body type, I will say that she was kind of diverse with the body type. She had big people, she had slender people, she had men, she had women. Okay. But as far as the race of the people, I did not see much diversity. I almost expected to see that in this book because it is a global history of bathing. So if you're talking about a subject that is global, I want your illustrations to reflect that, or I want your information to reflect that. But I don't think she truly could have gone as far as she could have with that. If she made a second edition with additional recipes, I think that would be an even better book because maybe she can add more diversity in history. But that's the main issue I had with this book overall, was the lack of diversity. And some of the information I don't agree with. So this is the first page. It's called About the Bath. We are born into this world after the longest, most wonderful warm bath of all. And she's referring to your mother's womb, where we are an amniotic fluid. But she doesn't, say that. She just assumes we know that we come from our mother's womb. No matter who you are or where you live, you have taken a bath. You know the sound of water rushing in the tub, the steam on the mirror, the scent of the soap. You settle into the warmth surrounding you, and the tensions of the day fall away. It is a moment of pure pleasure and well-being, the bath. I have loved baths for as long as I can remember. When I was a child, the only bathtub in our house was a beautiful porcelain basin with claw feet. It was the exclusive property of my mother, who adored it. Everyone else showered. Only when I had been especially good was I treated to a bath, which was sometimes scented with lavender or had rose petals floating in it. This is where I first learned to appreciate the finer aspects of bathing. Now, I could take a nice bath, but I don't like my bathroom. I'm not in love with my bathroom, just like I'm not in love with this apartment. I appreciate this apartment. I'm glad I have a roof over my head, but it is not an apartment I vibe with. My third apartment, I loved that place. That was one of the places that felt like home. And that was the last apartment where I didn't just take showers. I was always taking a bath. I had herbs that I would pour into my bath. I would make tea. I had all these scrubs. I had candles. I would put a heater in there. It was warm. The water stayed warm. So I felt very comfortable. As I mentioned earlier, bathing in itself is a spiritual practice. And I felt that when I bathed in my tub in my last apartment. Whereas my current apartment, I don't feel comfortable in it because I don't like my bathroom. I have a hole at the bottom of my wall that hasn't been fixed. So it's just air coming in. My window won't close. It's broken. So I had to put a what do you call it? A weight to keep the window down. My sink doesn't really work. It doesn't spit out water. I just hate my bathroom. I don't want to be in there. I can't relax in there. So the only thing that I do in my bathroom as far as bathing is taking a shower. Even if I wanted to take a bath, no, we don't vibe. So I understand why she loved that bathtub as a child, because when you're in a place where you feel comfortable and warm, you can relax. You can let go. You can let your cares go down the drain. But if you're in a place that's just like, I just want to get in and get out, you don't get that type of experience. Another experience for me of bathing where I had my worst experience of bathing was when I lived in Hawaii and we didn't have the running water, so the old man would get water from the roof, and I ended up getting ill from the water because I guess it had parasites in it. So for 7 days my stomach was extremely bloated. I didn't feel clean until I came to St. Louis and took an actual warm shower in an Airbnb. So sometimes a person's moods can be affected by their bathing environment. She said, "Today you and I have the luxury of hot water from the tap and entire rooms for the indulgence of a bath. But this was not always so. People's bathing habits were determined by a number of limitations and nuisances, not the least of which was an aversion to getting wet. Man's first baths were probably accidental and cold." I guess it depends on where. If it was accidental and cold, you'd have to be in a cold environment. But what if you were in a warm environment? If they can trace, I guess, the dawning of humanity to Africa, I don't know which part of Africa they found some of the oldest skeletons, but was the climate there cold or was it warm? I know there's areas in different countries where you do get cold, you have mountains and all of that, but that's just one thing I question. The habit of cleansing wounds and fresh running streams had to be learned from animals. Primitive families in all cultures bathed together, sharing the same basin or watering place. Since it was difficult to heat quantities of water, people took cold baths. The only time I remember as a child people bathing together was when I was staying with a Nigerian family, and they were so nice. They were so religious. And they would have praise and worship every day in their house and living room and Bible study and all of that. But the woman had 6 children, and in the mornings when we would get ready for school, I would take a shower by myself, but the sisters would go in pairs. So the 2 oldest sisters took a shower together, then the next set of sisters took a shower together, and then the little boys took a shower together. So that's my first experience of seeing, I didn't see them, but like knowing the people that bathe together communally. And also the habit of cleansing wounds and fresh running streams had to be learned from animals. I'd have to research that because I don't know. There's certain parts of this book where I feel there needs to be more research done because I actually question it. I said, did we learn everything from animals, or do we just innately know certain things as human beings? We're not that ignorant. Soap was unpopular. For most people, bathing was a disagreeable chore, and it was easier to remain stinking than to take the plunge. There were sublime exceptions, however. The Greeks and Romans were the first to bathe regularly in cold water. The first bath resorts were built near natural springs. These resorts offered spiritual as well as physical cures. Water was thought to be the essence of life. This paragraph, I also don't agree with. The soap was unpopular. That doesn't make any sense. Because there are certain people and groups of people I would read about in the history of hygiene, just from my readings over the course of the years, that bathing and being clean was a part of their belief system, and it wasn't the Greeks or the Romans. So, for example, when you think of the ancient Hebrews and you think of the priests had to be clean. If they were making, say, the holy anointing oil, they had to go through rituals, they had to be ritualistically clean. You even had that in ancient Kemet, where the rulers had to be clean, and you had certain people in Kemet that would take baths multiple times a day and put cones of fat on their head with perfumes so it would run the scent down their body. It doesn't make any sense to me personally. If you're going to spend exorbitant amounts on incense and aromatic herbs and aromatic oils, why would soap be unpopular? Even raw black soap, and I don't know which part of Africa raw black soap came from. I don't know if it's West Africa or which part, but raw black soap. Or you look at Islam, where you have to, or I don't know much about Islam, but you have to be clean before you're praying. Or when there's certain belief systems, you have to wash your mouth out and be clean before you go into a spirit of prayers. So I don't agree. I don't. And I don't think it was just the Greeks and the Romans who were the first to bathe. I just don't believe that. There isn't just one group, especially if you're in a place. Hold on. We're going to go into it early. Okay. Private baths in early times were more ritual than hygienic. Upon arriving at the home of a wealthy friend, a guest was greeted and escorted to a room where, aided by a handmaiden, his skin would be scraped with an iron utensil and then drenched with an urn of cold water. Ritual bathing such as this occurs throughout history and across cultures. Okay, I wish you would mention some more of the cultures besides the Greeks and the Romans, but it seems like that's what she's mainly focusing on in this book in particular. And she talks about their bathhouses and like the bathhouses of them. So they're in the bath, they're all in the bath. Orgies were commonplace. Musicians played while bathers sang, danced, drank, made love, and ate from floating trays. As a result of the scandals, a ban was placed on mixed bathing. The ringing of bells announced the appropriate time for each sex to bathe. The wealthy and idle still spent much of their time lavishing together in perfumed water. It was not unheard of to discover someone had died in the bath after indulging in an evening of wanton activity. The early Christians rejected the public bathhouses of Rome. Some abstained from bathing, thus mortifying the flesh as a penance for sin. Spiritual cleansing was practiced in a form of quick plunge in cold water for baptism, or washing of the hands before ritual, as I mentioned earlier. But I'm having flashbacks of different Bible stories I read as a child. For example, the healing waters of, was it the pool at Bethesda? I don't know if that's the appropriate name, where the angels would stir up the waters and people will go there to bathe and be healed. Public baths were still considered wicked, and rightfully so. In England, the stews, or hot bathhouses, were brothels. In 1546, Henry VIII, I think it's Henry VIII, had to close the stews in order to halt the spread of syphilis. Now this man is one to talk. Okay, you, Mr. couldn't decide which wife you wanted to have since you wanted to execute all of them. Renaissance France gave us the bathtub as we know it. The shape was changed from round to oval, and it was large enough to recline in. Louis the 13th, I think, X111 or XIII, so I guess that's 13, developed a taste for sitting in water scented with rose petals. But his son did not inherit his taste for bathing. He had the most sumptuous bathroom in Europe, but insisted on bathing only twice a year, in summer and a natural spring. That's why I don't really want to visit Versailles. Simply from watching documentaries about that place and reading about the hygienic horrors of that place, it makes me cringe. How can you not take a bath for a year? 2 times a year. How do you live with yourself and your body? You're literally a king. Some folks are just disgusting. I'm sorry. If you were an impoverished person on the street, okay, I can understand that because you don't have the access or monetary funds to get a bath. But you, who is a king with reckless spending, the least you could do is be clean. But okay, with your grimy self. Every culture has its own preference for bathing. The Russians and Swedes living in cold climates promote circulation by beating themselves with branches and then taking a plunge in icy water outdoors. The Japanese have raised bathing to the level of art, requiring 2 baths, the first for cleansing and the second for socializing. Americans tend to prefer showers over baths. It's because we don't have time to sleep. But yeah. So in this page, he shows all of the different styles of bath. The bathtub. Revolutions occurred in the style and shape of bathtubs as often as they did politics. Running outdoors for a chilly dip in a wooden tub very soon lost its romance. So man developed his intellect in the bathtub. So I'm going to show you which bathtub I want to use. I want that bathtub right there. I want that bathtub right there because then I can close the curtain. This one because I can lean back and just rest my head. I want that one because it looks like a bowl where you can put ice cream in it. I want this one because it has a shower head and the rest can just go somewhere. You and the bath. If water is the heart of a bath, then scents and fragrances are of the soul. The bath is an occasion to indulge your fantasies. Now is the time to familiarize yourself with the many delightful ways you can scent your tub. So she mentions on this page all of the different ways you can scent your tub. You can have essences, and that's her way of saying essential oils. You can get an essential oil at a health store or Walmart and just put a little bit in the tubs, a couple of drops, and that should be enough to scent the whole tub. I'd put like 3 to 5 drops of your favorite essential oil, but make sure that you don't have a condition that can be aggravated by the essential oil, and also be careful if you're pregnant because there's certain essential oils you can't use during pregnancy either, but be sure to research that. Oils. Body and bath oils provide wonderful fragrances, but they also protect the skin. So she mentions mineral oil, but I wouldn't use that. There's castor oil, there's almond, avocado, safflower, sunflower, essentially carrier oils. And if you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, you can put the essential oils in the carrier oil and make a fragrant body oil. Colognes. The first cologne was discovered by a botanist in ancient times who placed dried scented flowers in white wine and found that the scented wine retained the perfume of the flower longer than the flowers alone. So I guess this is your own version of perfume. You would take 1.5 cups of alcohol, 1 to 2 teaspoons of floral essence, and 3 teaspoons water. Combine the ingredients and use directly, or store in a tightly stopped glass bottle until ready to apply. I would put that in a dark cabinet too, so not in a window. That way it can preserve the potency of your cologne. Floral waters, so essentially rose water or calendula water, you get 1 ounce of essence, which is the essential oil, to 1 quart of distilled water. One quick way to do this is just get an essential oil and put it in some water. And there's your floral water. And mix it up. Bath vinegars, you have 1 cup desired herb or flower to 2 cups of white wine vinegar. And it's supposed to help with the acid mantle and chemical balance of the outer layer of the skin. It can be used directly on the skin or added to the bath water. I guess that would be good. You just have, like if you're a woman, just have to make sure it doesn't throw off your pH or anything. So research some of those things. Another thing you can do is create a tea and put in your bath like I used to do. I would make green tea or lemon balm or something, and I'd pour it in my tub. So she has pot brewing, which is essentially where you do that. You boil it in a pot, or you make a cup of tea and pour it in the tub. Not too hot, just pour it in there. Or you can do faucet brewing, where you get a muslin bag or some cheesecloth. You put your herbs in there, and you let the faucet water make a tea for you in the tub. She has a page where there's all of these different herbs that you can use in your bath, and she explains what all of them do. Then this page, which is really fun, she talks about all of the trinkets and beautiful things you can have in your bathtub. So on this side, she mentions objects that you can have in order to make your bath more of a fun experience. You have toys like rubber duckies. You don't have to be a child to just have a rubber ducky and toys to play with in your tub. There's loofahs and sponges. There's brushes. A portable shower head. You might want to use a shower head if you have a problem with your water. Make sure your water doesn't have any of that grimy things or any type of metals. They've gotten more advanced with these shower heads where you can cleanse your water and filter it so it won't hurt your skin. Sometimes a person's skin conditions can come just from the water in their tub. I first learned that, I don't know if I was a teenager or if I was in my early 20s. I had accidentally come across a forum of Indian women. I was looking how to grow my hair, and one of the women asked, has anybody's hair gotten worse since moving from India to the United States? And there was this whole list, and they were talking about the water of the shower and how it changed their hair. And I did not experience this firsthand until I was in Hawaii and then came back to St. Louis. I tried to wash my hair in Hawaii, but the water that I had was just awful. So my hair and my skin got damaged. It didn't get better until I came back home. And my skin started clearing up, and my hair started clearing up again too. So sometimes it's the type of water that you're using. Another thing you can do is creating all sorts of your own potions and have beautiful bottles and boxes just to make it look pretty or handsome. Whenever I have my own home, I want to make the most elaborate bathroom ever because it'll be my house. So my dream bathroom, I'm going to describe it to you. In case you're renovating a house and you want bathroom ideas, this is my dream bathroom and you can steal it. I want a window that is a stained glass window. In my stained glass window, I want an African goddess with a crown and she's bathing. So maybe Yemaya or somebody else, or I want some mermaids, like some black mermaids swimming. with all these different patterns. When the sunlight comes through and hits the window, it'll make this rainbow room for my bathtub. I want a cabinet that has all of my towels and my soaps and all of that. I want a soap collection. I want a big mirror. I would like my shower curtain if I plan to take a shower instead of a bath. I want my shower curtain to be made of either philodendrons, pothos, or ivy. And I want them all woven together. I want my mat to be moss or grass, so that way it feels like I'm stepping on nature. I want hanging plants. I want some speakers on the side so I can play music while I'm in the tub. I want an elaborate sink with a vanity mirror. You just wait till I get my house. Oh my God. I will be spending so much money renovating this. And I want a mosaic above my tub. Like a beautiful mosaic of tiles, and I want it to be of a black mermaid. And that's what I want my bathroom to do. Soap and shampoo. We're gonna cover this naked person up. I don't have a monetized channel, and I don't plan on ever getting this channel monetized, but some people just don't want to see the little, naked people. So this one, shampoo and soap, and this lady is in the bathtub chilling. Soap is the oldest cleanser in the world. It was first used 2,300 years ago by the Phoenicians, who mixed goat's tallow with beech ashes. It was so harsh that it burned the skin. Y'all are okay. Centuries later, gentle soaps were invented. The first soap makers in Europe appeared in England in the 12th century, but soap was a luxury. Common people almost never were able to afford it, and the wealthy preferred not to use it. I don't understand what's wrong with these wealthy people not wanting to be clean. Like, it's getting on my nerves. Or maybe it's just different groups, maybe. She's making it sound like all wealthy people, but maybe it was just Europe. Maybe it was just Europe. Or maybe it was groups of people in a colder climate. I can understand you not wanting to bathe if you're in a cold, cold climate and it's uncomfortable being cold. But if you're on an island or something where you have access to water, I don't see how you would not be able to bathe if you're that close to the ocean. But sometimes I think bathing, being clean, is a personal choice at this stage. I remember when I lived in Hawaii and we were selling soap on somebody's land. And there were all of these people, like tourists and I guess people who had migrated to Hawaii that were at this event. And the only thing I truly remember about this event was they smelled so strange. They smelled like they had not bathed in days. And we were selling soap and people were like, oh, okay, I guess, but I don't use soap. Like one lady, I tried to sell the soap and she's like, I don't use soap. I just use the ocean. Girl. It was hard to even sell them some things because the scent was so strong. It's like you couldn't breathe. And it wasn't just one person. It was like 20, 30 people. Like, make it make sense. When I went to the nudist beach, I wasn't nude. I was fully clothed. I caught a rash just from being on that beach. I thought I had gotten stung by a stingray, but this girl that had migrated to Hawaii said that sometimes they don't keep the beach clean, the nudist people, and I probably caught a rash from them. So sometimes people just don't want to be clean. Even if they have the opportunity to be clean, even if they have the ability and the funds to be clean, they just don't want to. They just want to be whatever scent they want to be. And I can't help you. And I'm going to try not to judge you, but I will stay away from you a little bit so I can breathe. In 1672, a German gentleman sent his lady a beautiful treasure box filled with soap worth its weight in gold. It was necessary to include detailed instructions on how to use it. This aversion to soap and bathing may account for the rise in popularity of perfume in Europe. People did not use soap regularly for cleaning until the industrial age, when it became possible to manufacture soap on a mass scale. Before that, people in America and Europe made soap at home. Here's the basic recipe for homemade soap. 4 ounces of lye, 10 ounces of water, 24 ounces of tallow. Now you have to be careful with the lye because I've heard it was dangerous. Note the rising temperature due to the chemical reaction between lye and water. I'd rather just not use any lye. I'd rather use some type of Castile soap. So some of her recipes for the shampoo are egg hair rinse, which are 2 beaten eggs and 1 teaspoon lemon juice. You whisk the ingredients together, work in a wet hair, and leave for 5 minutes and rinse with warm water. So that's a good protein treatment for your hair. I would have used it on my hair today, but I actually got my hair washed today. This is what it looks like. I need to plait it tomorrow, so that way I won't be having to comb it. But lemon hair rinse. Juice of 2 lemons and half a cup of hot water. It says it leaves the hair shining and promotes highlights. So this is good if your hair is like blonde, or you have some golden tones in your hair, or you have some gray in your hair. I think this would be cute. Then she gives you the tools that you'll need to make these things. And she draws out every tool, which I think is very detailed. She also has some pages where she talks about different baths for different seasons. So one season right now, we're in winter, and there's something called the winter bath. Girl, why'd you put winter at the end? Just put it next to the spring. Okay, I cannot. First you have spring and summer together, and then winter's like several pages later. So this is winter. Hold on, 26. This is a winter bath. This lady is in her bathtub in the winter time. Rid the chill of a wintry day in a steaming tub. It is wonderful to steep indoors while snow falls outside. Central heating and hot water at the tap have made winter bathing a luxury. So some of the recipes for the winter bath are a spicy clove bath. At sunset, steep in this hot spice winter bath. Add candlelight to the room and sip a mug of hot cider. It's 2 cups of rose water, 2 bay leaves, half an ounce of crushed cloves, and 2 cups wine vinegar. Combine ingredients and boil for 1 hour, adding more water to the original level as it boils down. Store for a week in a cool, dark place. Add half a cup to warm bath water, or combine 1 part vinegar to 8 parts water for a delightful bath splash. I kind of like this. I just don't like cloves. Now, cloves are good for parasite cleanses. Then, this one I liked because I think this was one of the only black girls in there. Yeah. Right here. Oh, I had to cover. Sorry. It's called the Extravagant Bath. Great beauties and great lovers have languished in extravagant and beautiful baths. Marie Antoinette took 2 baths a day, one to cleanse and the other to rinse and rest in. Well, she married to, if it's a Louis, I'm thinking it is, and her husband only took 2 baths a year, I can understand why she bathed. wants to cleanse. She had to take a double bath, because who wants to sleep next to a person who has an annual bath? This can make sense. And you have to procreate with them too? That literally makes no sense. She had 2 magnificent tubs made of marble and porcelain. They were fitted with silk curtains and had gilt fittings and sculpted pedestals. It's called the White Chocolate Bath. For anyone who loves chocolate, this will be supreme bath experience. It will fill the room with glorious aroma of chocolate while cleansing your skin in creamy milk. Add more milk or cream if you desire. Now, don't do it if you're allergic, but milk does have a nice effect on the skin. It can brighten the skin. It can get like the dead skin cells off of you. It can soften the skin. You have 2.5 cups of milk or cream, 2 teaspoons almond oil, 1 teaspoon oil of chocolate. Wait, what? There's an oil of chocolate? Oh, I gotta find that. 1 pinch of cinnamon. I hate cinnamon, so I'm not going to add it, but I'm going to find this 1 teaspoon oil of chocolate, wherever that is. Combine ingredients and heat over in a double boiler for 5 minutes. Do not boil. Add to fast-running bath water. Then there's the Mary Queen of Scots wine bath. Mary Queen of Scots enjoyed bathing in wine and insisted that it preserved her beauty. It is thought that the wine helped adhere the heavy face powders and rouges which were fashionable at the time. In any case, her habit was so demanding that the Earl of Shrewsbury was forced to ask the government to increase her allowance in order to support the habit. So you have 1 to 2 bottles of your favorite wine. And since wine is an astringent, it's safe to bathe in, even in large quantities. If you want a full wine bath, go ahead, but be sure to rinse thoroughly afterwards. Wouldn't it make more sense to just like coat yourself in the wine? You're gonna get drunk through your skin. Girl, this one is cute. It is the love bath. So if you have a significant other and you want to be romantic, since Valentine's Day is coming, a bath is the perfect place for lovers, private, sensual, and warm. Kisses have been exchanged in steaming tubs for centuries. In Rome, Nero and his concubines made the shared bath infamous. During the Middle Ages, lovers bathed outdoors, surrounded by minstrels, with servants providing food and wine. So, here's 2 baths. The Valentine bath, which is essentially like you put some essential oil of rose, like rose water concentrate or a rose oil, in the tub. And that's it, like some roses. And you can sprinkle some rose petals. Then there's the Adam and Eve bath, which is very elaborate. And it's an apple bath. You have 1/4 cup of dried apples, dried peel of 1 apple, 1.5 cups of water, 1/4 cup lavender, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. You put them in a pot of boiling water for 20 minutes and add to a warm bath. And you can keep a bowl of chilled apples by the tub to tempt your lover. I'm a terrible person at eating in the bathtub. Like, I never have food in the bathroom. Even when I had my nice bathroom, I never kept food in there. I always kept it in my kitchen. I just couldn't bring myself to bring food into the bathroom. I just couldn't do it. But it's still a nice, relaxing thing to do. Hold on. Okay. There's a hangover bath. And my friend Tim is a newspaper editor and knows what a headache is all about. He says this bath works for migraines and hangovers too. You have 1 cup ice cubes, 1 plastic bag. Fill the tub with hot water. Place the ice cubes in the plastic bag and wrap it in the bath towel. Place the ice bag at the back of your neck while reclining in hot water. He recommends playing Handel's Messiah on the stereo as well. And that's going to be sure to wake you up. I think it's the ice. This is a reflective bath. where he's reflecting on the city life. There's another bath where she talks about the summer bath, and it was when she got sunburned and her skin was scorched. It was lobster red, like in this illustration. Her Aunt Celia called, and she said, "Catherine, darling, go to the kitchen this minute and put the kettle on. I want you to brew the strongest, blackest pot of Darjeeling tea you can and pour it into a tub full of water. Then sit there for a good long time. Don't you wait another minute, honey. You call me in the morning, you hear?" So you essentially add any black tea into your tub. And I guess it soothes the pain of the sunburn. There's also another bath, like if you have children, and this one is the children's bath. There's little children in the bathtub with their daddy. It consists of 7 to 10 large romaine lettuce leaves and 1 quart of water. So you essentially make tea from romaine lettuce and you put it in the water to bathe the children in. You can also do this with cucumber too. I know the late Dr. Christopher, he recommended this mother whose baby had extreme eczema to bathe her baby in chickweed tea several times a day, and it helped to clear the baby's eczema. So if you have some type of skin issues like eczema, I would recommend chickweed, lemon balm. I'd also recommend neem, but don't use neem if you're trying to conceive or if you're pregnant, because it's essentially a natural spermicide. It'll deeply cleanse your body, but neem oil has been used for eczema and other skin issues. But don't use it during pregnancy or if you're a man that's trying to conceive. She has a chapter on curative baths, which is this. From ancient times to the present, people have looked to water for cures. The first bath resorts were founded on natural springs and were elaborate temples dedicated to the gods of water. People flocked to them for every conceivable cure. The word spa comes from the resort of Spa at Ardennes, founded in 1326, but the word did not come into use until 1342 when Emperor Charles IV discovered the great Bohemian spa at Carlsbad. By 1351, there were so many visitors there, it was necessary to impose a cure tax. So some of the waters, some of the bathing for curative baths, there's the rain bath. Hold on, can you see the rain bath? There's the spray bath, sweat bath, hot blanket bath, and portable vapor bath. I've heard of a hay bath when I was watching this documentary on, it was like herbs of the Swiss Alps. And a few of the people were talking about they laid in the hay as children and it rejuvenated their bodies. So there was a spa that was created, and one of the baths that they had was a hay bath. You were essentially in a tub full of hay, and it healed your body. So if you are a person that's going through some type of illness or going through weakness, I would recommend some of these herbal baths. Just make a bath, a cup of tea every day. Put it in your bathtub and let it soak. One bath I recommended to a couple of people who have HSV2. I don't know if I can say disease names, but you can look it up. I think that's what it is, HSV2. which isn't the cold sores, the other one, I recommend a bath with aloe vera or rubbing it on the sores, lemon balm, a little bit of tea tree oil, and just a tiny bit of hydrogen peroxide, just a tiny bit, and some neem leaves. And you bathe in that. And after you get out of the tub, you rub yourself with the aloe vera gel because it will help with the healing of the sores. Or if you have a lysine to take internally, I'd recommend that one too, because a lysine is it's an amino acid, so it helps with outbreaks. I'm trying to like talk in a way where I'm not gonna get like, you said this, little girl. I'm sorry. I was just trying to help. So then she has several pages where she talks about making body creams and all of that, which you can do on your own since a lot of people are making their own stuff, so you don't have to follow her recipes, and it's just very long. And I also don't like the mineral oil part of it. I just cannot. Or the petroleum jelly. There's just no way. For me, personally. Mask, powders, a facial steam. And she essentially just, goes into that. So this book, I would give maybe a 3.5 fudge buckets. What saved this book was the creativity of it that helped it. The illustrations, because she went hard on those illustrations, and I really truly admire that. And also, it was very thorough. So that was the saving grace of this book. What gave it a 3.5, what detracted it from the book for me, was the lack of diversity as far as groups of people in the illustrations. I simply would like illustrations reflecting the global history of bathing. If you're going to talk about something global, I want to see that reflected in the illustrations. I want to see different races in there. I want to see different body types of different races in there. I was like, I do. Because you're talking about people all over the world. Now, if you're talking about people in, let's say, like ancient Europe or something, then okay, I can see it'd be more racially homogenous that way. And I would understand it being reflected. But if it's something global and also the modern day, I just want to see that. So that's what took away from that. And also, I feel she could have done more research because she focused mainly on Europe. Europe. I didn't hear anything about the ancient indigenous people of the Americas. I didn't hear anything barely in Asia. I didn't hear anything barely in Africa. It was just Europe. And I don't know if it's because she didn't have any information on there or what. I don't know. Because I know for a fact that in those places, everybody had their specific bathing practices. They had their own soaps. They had their own way of being clean. That's why I say if she makes a second edition, I think it would be a success, because then she can add more information and possibly add more diversity to this book. Now, I wanted to share with you some of my favorite soaps that I like to use. Some of them I have with me. Most of them I do not. So I'm going to show you the ones I have with me, and then I will, I guess, put pictures of the ones that I use and explain why I like them. So the first soap is Dudu Osan. Dudu Osan, which is a black soap. I don't count Dudu Osan as raw black soap because it's not, yeah. I don't really count it as raw black soap. I've used raw black soap before, and it doesn't have much of a fragrance. Dudu Osan, I guess their color has gotten a little bit lighter, but most people try to sell you black soap and you try to make it seem like it's black, like a marker, but it's not, it's brown. Dudu Osan was my first experience of black soap. I thought this was just raw black soap, but it was not. I call it my emergency soap because even though it's not my favorite and I don't really care for the scent, it gets me clean. It is so fragrant, your whole bathroom will smell like Dudu Osan. This is the classic fragrance. People have been complaining about the scent of Dudu Osan change. I don't know who took over and changed their scent because they say even the classic fragrance doesn't smell like the classic. Most people prefer to get the one in the complete green box. They count that as Dudu Osan. There's also one version called Fresh New Fragrance. People don't like that one either, but this is my emergency soap. You can usually get it for like $2, $3. Boom. Cheap. This one, actually these two are from the same brand. Herbalganic is turmeric soap. They've been getting extremely popular. This one I don't really care for its scent. I just bought it because I want to be clean, but it looks like this. This one is just okay. It's just okay. And it has, hold on. It has turmeric, palm oil, castor oil, coconut oil, lye, beeswax, vitamin E, shea butter, and fragrance. You lather onto wet skin and massage for 1 to 2 minutes. Rinse thoroughly. For best results, use regularly. Our turmeric soap is infused with a hefty amount of turmeric. This soap is made for all skin types and is gentle enough for sensitive skin. This soap is very versatile and can be used as face and body soap for men, women, teens, and babies, or as a shaving soap for men. This isn't my favorite turmeric soap. It's just okay. Now, this one is my favorite turmeric soap. I don't know what it is about the scent, because at first I didn't like the scent, but over the course of time it grew on me. And now I can't stop using it. Okay, this is what it looks like from the same brand. I also found out that they have, I don't know why I like the scent. I don't know why it grew on me, but it got me so clean. Apparently they have a cream. So I'm going to see what happens with the cream. But a lot of people have been getting this soap. I think the box is way prettier. They also have a third turmeric soap. If this is the same brand, I don't know. And it has black seed oil in it. I don't like that one. It smells too fragrant. This one says it has turmeric, honey, olive, shea butter, vegetable glycerin, vitamin E, essential oils, and fragrance. It also says, wonders turmeric soap can do for your skin. Natural treatment for acne, revitalizes skin, protects skin from acne and rash, stimulates blood circulation, natural antibacterial agent, natural moisturizer, prevents dryness, relieves eczema and psoriasis, reduces facial hair growth, lightens stretch marks, and provides great relief for aging skin. I have heard people say that it brightened their dark marks. It helped with their hyperpigmentations. That's what I've heard. I haven't seen it. Even though I use it a lot, I haven't really seen it. I just know it gets my skin clean. If there was an evening of the tone, I didn't really notice it, but hold on. I only use it on my face occasionally, so Maybe if I use it on my face more, I will see more of a result. Another soap that I use is raw black soap, but I use that as my super emergency soap. I only use raw black soap on my face, and that's it. I don't even use it on my body because it doesn't have enough fragrance for me to be on my body. Another soap I use is the Heritage Store Rose Water and Glycerin. I don't really care for the smell, but I like that soap. I feel it gets me clean and doesn't dry out my skin. Dr. Bronner's Lavender, I love. Some people, Dr. Bronner's is too strong. That's why it says on the bottle, dilute, dilute, dilute. You can also use Dr. Bronner's as a shampoo. You can use it as a dishwashing liquid. You can use it as a mop. You can use it as just so many things. They've been soap making since the 1850s. Another soap that I like is Shea Moisture coconut oil, shea butter. It's some type of soap, and I like it. I just don't know what to call it. There was also a soap that I liked, which was 365 from Whole Foods, and it was a lavender soap. There's also the vanilla oatmeal from One with the Sea. I can't remember what it's called. But I'm just going to post in this video some of my favorite soaps because I can't remember their names from the tops of my head. Most of them I just like because they get me clean. As far as scent, I really don't care. Some of them I do like the scent, others it's just okay. Most of the scents that I go for as far as soap is vanilla, rose, lavender, and did I say vanilla again? Some lilac, flowery smells, but not too overpowering. So that is all I have to say about this video and this book. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.